YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with another NFL trade that recently just went down with the Niners and the Broncos involving wide receiver Emmanuel Sanders and quite a few draft picks. So we'll break down the trade, give you my thoughts and the grades on this trade. And I'm assuming as soon as this uploads, another trade will go down because that just seems to be how it works here. But we break down all the trades. We also have weekly power rankings, predictions, score predictions, plenty more full NFL content in season. And we got extra content on our Patreon. You can get extra score predictions, playoff predictions, and NFL mock drafts updated every single week. So you get a lot there. Patreon.com/thegoathouse just to see some more info. And then 40K is our subscriber goal by the end of this year. So please help us out by subscribing. We're trying to get to that goal. Full NFL content. Like I said, a bunch of videos every single day. Working real hard over here. Full NFL and college football content. Click that like button. Check us out on Twitter. Let's go to the trade. Emmanuel Sanders and a 5th-round pick to the San Francisco 49ers. And the Broncos get a 3rd and a 4th-round pick. So 3 draft picks involved there. 2 going to the Broncos, 1 to the Niners, obviously. Something to keep in mind, something to know. Emmanuel Sanders is scheduled to be a free agent this offseason. So he's got... where is he under contract? Well, it's the rest of this year, so we're about halfway through the season. And then, you expect the Niners, the way they're playing, to make the playoffs, but you never know in a tough division, tough NFC. And then they would have to re-sign him or let him walk in this upcoming free agency, and that's something key to know here. Something interesting, I did a trade scenarios prediction, so a trade prediction video, a bunch of different realistic trades, and I had Emmanuel Sanders going for a 3rd-round pick. And that's what I thought his value was. I think his skill could be a little more, but because of all the factors with the Broncos and then his expiring contract, a 3rd-round pick is what I had going, and that's kind of how I look at this. Plus some, I look at it. Emmanuel Sanders was traded for a 3rd-round pick between the Broncos and Niners, obviously, and then the Broncos swap. The Broncos and Niners swap 5th round for 4th round, so the Broncos move up a little bit there. So it's obviously it's more than just a 3rd rounder, but in a way it's very similar. So that's kind of how I look at it. I look at it, Emmanuel Sanders for a 3rd round pick, and then they swap 4 and 5 there. So to kind of just jump to my grades, I'm going to grade the Broncos here actually, and I'm gonna give them an A+. That's what I want to give them here because, like I said, I kind of predicted a value of 3rd round, around there. I wasn't guaranteeing anything, obviously, but and if we go back to the trade details after giving the Broncos A+, they get that and a little more. It's not a whole bunch more because they're swapping a 5th and a 4th. So they get a little more than I expected. That's number 1. Number 2, his contract is expiring. Would he have re-signed? Maybe, but I'd say most likely not. I'd say he would go to a contender, a little more of a contender, but the Broncos can become that. And then the 3rd thing to look at is if they did lose him in free agency, they would have gotten a compensatory pick in 2021 of I'd say maximum. Well, the max you can get is a 3rd rounder. I'd say they probably would have got a 4th rounder, and that's in 2021. So instead, they do not get that 4th rounder, we'll call it, in 2021. Instead, they get a 3rd and a 4th this year. The Broncos are a few games away, a few mess-ups, close games away from having a winning record, so they know they can win games. And with the extra picks for this year, not in 2021, it can help get a quicker turnaround, and just that might be enough to make, it might be the difference in winning those games. So that helps them a bunch. It's an A+ to me. You got your picks. You probably weren't going to re-sign him. And I think they get more value than the compensatory value. I really do. So again, the Broncos got an A+. What am I giving the Niners? I'm giving the Niners an A. I like this trade for the Niners. They got better today. They need another receiver. They have a long list of receivers. They got depth. They got rotation. They got depth. They also have some of those guys kind of get hurt. We see, Pettis every now and then, a little shaken up, and then Goodwin, sometimes is hurt, and then and a lot of young guys that they're really not sold on yet. Some guys that will be part of the future for sure. I like some of the young guys they got, but they just don't have that, that legit guy that can take over, that can be a good receiver. Emmanuel Sanders He's a pretty darn good receiver. I think he's underrated. He can play in the slot, play outside. He's coming from with Flacco as his quarterback to Jimmy G as his quarterback. Now, some people could argue there's not a humongous difference between the two, but there is a difference between the two. But mainly, there's a huge difference between the two offenses, the systems. So Sanders will be good. He'll be really good in this offense. He'll be the number one receiver. The reason it's not an A+ is because they did give up a little more value than I expected, not a whole bunch more. And to kind of think about it, they traded away their second-round pick for D Ford, so they will not have a second, third, or fourth. So that one hurts a little bit, in my thinking, hurts a little bit. You won't have a second, third, or fourth because I do believe in winning Super Bowls through the draft. I do believe that, but they've kind of already done that. They kind of already done that. They're undefeated right now. Well, they haven't won the Super Bowl yet, but they kind of already, built that team through the draft is what I mean. And, now they get another receiver. That's really their only weakness. I'd say their only weakness going into the season for me, the only reason I doubted them was kind of, health. A lot of guys that kind of get injured. We're kind of used to them getting injured, and even Nick Bosa had somewhat of a concern. So that was really my only concern for them on top of Jimmy G, consistency. And then maybe if I had to find a spot they can fill, like a specific position, it'd be receiver. And they went out and did that. What I love about it, why I keep it in the A range for sure, is because they are not afraid to get better. And that is a championship. That is a part of a championship winning formula within the front office. You see all these teams that think they're set or they have a good record, they're playing well, and they just they're too afraid to go make that deal for those reasons. They think they're set. They're all there. The Niners are undefeated right now. They're playing very good. A lot of momentum, a lot of energy. You gotta love that. Everything's really going. It's going very well for the Niners right now, to say the least. And they still go out and do that because they need the extra push. They know they can get better, and they know they can go further with that trade. It's not a giant trade, but it's just enough. And I love that about the Niners. You see I've seen it so many times. Like, really the only team that isn't afraid to go out and make a trade and get better is the Patriots when they're already the favorite and they go do it. Not just this year, it's every year. And it's not just during the regular season. I'm talking about throughout the whole season, the whole year. And you rarely see it. Usually it's the teams that are, consistently good are the only teams that do it. And there's teams that are too worried about, throwing the momentum and energy off when they're doing good. They think they're set, or they don't want to hurt player development. Some teams are like, okay, we could get better. We'll use the example of the receiver position, but we have Deebo Samuel, we have all these, we have Dante Pettis, we have all these young guys. So let's keep them going so they get better for the future. Forget trying to get better now. No, the Niners say we're going to get better now. So I love that, and that's why they stay kind of in that A range. And the only reason, again, I couldn't give them the A+ is because I thought, the value-wise, the Broncos definitely won the, value part of this deal. And I don't like that they don't have a second, third, and fourth, but it's not a huge deal. Obviously, I still gave them the A. They got better today, and the Broncos got better for the future. And like I said, I like that it could be a quick turnaround rather than a 2021, turnaround. They could have gotten, maybe they would have gotten a third-round pick and a fourth-round pick without giving up the fifth if it was 2021 possibly. With this upcoming offensive draft class, I want this year. I want 2020 draft picks. They got a 3 and a 4, even though they gave a 5 back. They got a 3 and a 4. They're going to have an extra 3 and a 4 in that 2020 NFL draft. Super exciting. So if you're a Niners fan, let me know your guys' thoughts. Yeah, if you're happy, you don't like it, you think that boosts your team. If you're a Broncos fan, let me know your thoughts. I know there's still a good chunk of the fan base, which I understand. They think they can win, and even with trading Sanders, they think they can win. And I understand why. It's because they were darn close to having a winning record right now. Despite the recent loss was kind of tough. So let me know your guys' thoughts. If you guys have grades, I'd love to see those in the comments. We do all kinds of these videos every time there's a trade. We have a bunch of them recently, and I expect more trades to go down, when we get closer to this next week, the 29th trade deadline. So hopefully there's more. Hopefully we can make more of these videos, but we always have our recaps, power rankings, predictions, score predictions, and then more on Patreon. So we got you covered here at the Goat House. Please subscribe. We're trying to get to that goal. If you want even more, go to our Patreon link towards the top of the description. You can get more content. Appreciate everyone. Thank you for watching this video. Goodbye.